Welcome back to Blam Blam Truckers. I'm Bees, that's Buse, and today we're going to be talking to you about Transformers D6. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the character that Buse made for the game I'm going to be running for the very next video that we're doing. So he made a character called Ramp Jumper, which is part of his background, right? I don't know what he's doing exactly, but I'm not really looking at his camera right now. So he made a character named Ramp Jumper, and he's going into this blind. He does not know. He did not watch my videos that I put up for you guys, the Cybertronian misadventure that walks through the whole story background for this adventure. So he doesn't know. He has no idea what he's walking into. Um, so for those of you who have been watching my videos on that, which is seeing how the last couple only got one view apiece, and I'm pretty sure it was either me or our friend there who plays Crenshaw in our weekly superhero game. He's going to be playing one of the unnamed characters that is rescued in the chapter, episode, whatever you want to call it. I called Shoot the Moon. So as the main characters, which are going to now be NPCs in the RPG, as the main characters leave Cybertron, they get an Autobot distress signal, a beacon from one of the two moons. And they go down to the moon and they find a dozen or so Autobots who powered themselves off towards the end of the war and put themselves into long-term storage so that they wouldn't, perish from lack of energon. So they got transported out and brought onto the Autobot shuttle. And right now, the big problem with the whole reason why everyone was leaving Cybertron, the big plan was the war had consumed all of their energon because they lost the Allspark, and war destroyed the Decepticons, waged war on destroying the means of production of energon besides the Allspark. The Allspark was lost with the Dinobots long ago, and Optimus Prime was lost after he left Cybertron with his elite guard to go and stop a meteor storm that potentially could impact the planet Cybertron and destroy it. And Megatron took his best warriors with him to chase after Prime, and neither one of them were ever heard from ever again. That was a few hundred years ago. And now, the group of heroes, if you followed the story, were just waiting out the end of the war because every one of the main characters had a solar port, so they could produce energon just by being in direct sunlight. And they specifically made sure they all had solar ports as part of their final strategy for defeating the Decepticons. The few that were left on Cybertron, they were going to let the Decepticons just run out of energon because they had no means of production. The Autobots had no other means of production. And so the war was grinding to a very slow. It was going to take decades, if not another century, for the war to end, where they just stayed in hiding until the war was over. When they found a shuttle that was hyperspace capable, and the story that is on the website, that's on our channel here, is about them getting the shuttle ready, dealing with the Decepticons, getting the parts together they need, saving as many sparks as they could that were in storage, and taking as many with them that they could so that they could leave Cybertron, get access to new resources, rebuild new Transformer bodies for them, and come back to Cybertron one day in the hopefully near future and finally put an end to the Decepticon threat and save their planet and start the production of energon again. So that was, spoiler alert, I just told you the entire plot of my story. There's tons of detail I left out. You get to meet the very lovable characters I created: Grunt, Grinder, Forager, Doc, and Secundus. So those are the NPCs that you're going to be dealing with. Views? that ramp jumper we'll be dealing with. And you basically, you were part of an expeditionary mission to the second moon, or the first or second moon. Cybertron has 2 moons. To one of the moons. During the war, you fought for the Autobots. From the way you put your character together, I'm assuming you were actually one of the warriors in the group.
We'll go with that.
The Autobot army, by this point, by the end of the Civil War, the Autobot army was made up of both volunteers who had very little or no military training, and a few grizzled veterans. And I'm thinking you're more on the veteran side of things, or at least became that during the course of the war. So anyway, that's, you can work that into your background. I already talked to him about it. He said, I don't know what my background's going to be. We talked about it yesterday. So
I was busy editing videos and putting stuff out between yesterday and today. For you, the viewer.
The trucker. All you truckers out there in Blam Blam Trucker Land. So, yeah, that is where Buse is your character is going to wake up on Earth. You've never heard of Earth before, unless you give me a beyond heroic role. And yeah, that's the background of the story. And we wanted to go over his character, how he built his character, and what he did.
Nope.
No, we don't want to?
No, I've rolled. No, I did not get a beyond heroic planetary systems roll.
I didn't expect you to, but you have a decent knowledge, so it is possible. You exploded a few times. What did you end up getting? About 12?
And 11, but I botched.
I know the game. Oh, okay.
So, like a 5. But
a 5. I do know the game. All right. Do you want to cover your thoughts on how you put this character together? Do you want me to just kind of talk about your stats in general, and then you handle the integrated weapon systems and what you chose to do there?
All right. So, the way I put the character together is, now this isn't my first rodeo with Bees, playing High King's.
Yes, thank you to the High King for creating this game system.
But Transformers D6 game. Mm-hmm. So it's not my first rodeo, but it's been probably at least 8 years, I feel like.
I hate to think of it that way, but yes.
So I had to...
I want to say the last game we played was with the guy who plays John in our ongoing game.
Yep, and that was during
it was long before the pandemic.
Yeah, and we used to... Never mind, I won't go into it, but it's been a while. But just like with Star Wars, because it's based on that same D6 system, the actual attributes and stuff are the same. So if you go back to our Char episodes from back at the beginning of the channel, you can get a little bit from there. And also, Bees has gone through step-by-step creating characters in a couple of other episodes as well. I might try to link a bunch of them up there in cards, but I might not. We'll see. So, in regards to my character, yes, I did make him... I tried to balance him out, but at the same time make him a fairly good fighter. I didn't fully min-max everything, like what Bees did with Grunt, but I came close. So, I did it in a different way, is probably a better way of putting it. So, because I knew I was going to be a fighter, I gave myself 4D dex, and that is for both melee, which I plan on being more of a melee character, but also with 4D, if I pick up a ranged weapon, I'm going to be okay with it. That's pretty much just how it works. Knowledge, 3D, which is above human average, which I felt would be good for a Cybertronian. Mechanical, 2D, human average. Now, I made a mistake back in the last game, or one of the last games I played Transformers with Bees. I didn't give myself any sort of vehicle operation, and I gave myself a 1D mechanical. And I think I gave myself a higher strength, too, but...
Yeah, that character had 70 strength.
In that case, the problem was whenever I turned into a vehicle, I was better off not turning into a vehicle unless there was a human to drive me. I forgot even what I think I actually could fly. I want to say I was like a helicopter or something.
At least in one of them. Scooter.
Maybe
one of the characters you made was a helicopter, yes, but
yeah,
the 70 strength character was a scooter.
Okay. Probably designed, probably because I was thinking of my scooter from GoBots at the time. But anyways, yeah. So I gave myself the actual, ability to drive at a professional level, 4D. I mean, I'm not going to be fantastic, but it means that against the average Decepticon, I'm going to be okay if they're chasing me down the street. Perception, straight 3D, again, above average. Didn't really take any sort of sneak or hide or anything like that, but I can pull stuff off if I'm careful. Again, above human average. Strength, I went 5D. I didn't go all out, but I did enough so that I should be okay. And then improved climbing, jumping. We'll get to that a little later where I did that. And brawling. And the reason I did brawling is because I remember in the last game, one of the last games I did with this, my weapon got taken / stolen / broken. I forgot exactly what happened, but I was almost useless. Now, granted, my strength was pretty high then, so I mean, I guess it still was rolling better than this, but I just wanted to make sure that I could hit with the best of them. And then technical 1D, I'm not fixing anything, including myself. So now I would like to draw your attention, if I can find my cursor. Oh, okay, the cursor went dead. There we go. I would like to draw your attention up here to special abilities. Yay! So, again, I'm assuming Beas went over this in his...
when I walked through the High Kings, because you guys can actually go to our channel, and I walk through every chapter of the High Kings game book for this.
Mm-hmm.
I read through it. I gave my opinions on it. I mentioned at that point that I do not generally allow disabilities or negative special abilities because they tend to unbalance the game more than he planned. But I'm making an exception this time around for Buse.
Because he didn't tell me before I made the character.
Well, I've talked about it with you many, many times over the decades, but...
Yes, you have, but you didn't tell me specifically when you told me to make a character.
I didn't tell you specifically when I told you to make a character. And it's just an exposition. I don't think this is going to go longer than 1 or 2 sessions. But it might. You never know.
I also think that I balanced it. I think it's actually balanced in my particular case.
It's not.
Because of what I took. Well, maybe not. All right. So I took the special disability of Bleeder, and I took 5 ranks of it, which allowed me to have 5 points to put into other things in addition to the 1 point you naturally get. And what Bleeder does, it's pretty much what it sounds like. When I get hit and take a wound that causes me to bleed energon, I bleed even more. And it's pretty much exponential might be the wrong word, but actually it might be. Long story short, you pretty much double it each time it goes up. So if I took 2 points of damage, it would be... Yeah, I guess that would be exponential, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So pretty much to the 5th degree. So if I took 2 points of damage normally...
that would just be linear, but it's an awful kind of linear.
But pretty much it just doubles each time. So if it was 2, if I had Bleeder 1, it would be 4. If I had Bleeder 2, it would be 8. If I had Bleeder 3, it would be 16. Actually, I think I'm down 1, but whatever.
No, it's... Hold on. Right. I'll bring the rules up.
Oh, fine. Bring the. You're always so focused on the rules. I like to live in the moment.
Yeah, well, living in the moment may get you killed this time around. Um,
That's true.
because I think you're actually making it out to be worse than it is.
Oh, okay. Again, I haven't played in 8 years, and I don't think I took Bleeder last time.
No, you didn't. So tell him about it, the rest of this stuff, and when I have Bleeder up, I'll
Uh,
jump in.
so, so tempered weapon allows you to, for a physical weapon that you're using, as long as it's not energy based, you can pretty much put your energon into it to make it do more damage, but it uses some of your energon supply, which kind of is also life force. Super strength pretty much lets me hit with a pretty much puts my strength at a level that is higher than what my class is by one class up. Not technically, it just gives you plus 2d strength, but realistically, it just it puts me up another class in terms of strength, so I'm as powerful as a class 2 transformer, even though I'm a little bitty class 1 transformer. Reserve lets you start off with 50% more energon, and you start off with 100, so you get 150. I took that because I had Bleeder. They probably should be mutually exclusive, to be honest, but I didn't. It wasn't, so I took it. Quadranium Skin. I took 2 ranks of that, and like Super Strength, it pretty much raises you up class-wise in armor, in a way, so it gives you an extra 2d per rank, and I took 2 ranks of it, so it means that I am resisting at 4d additional for stuff at my level, or pretty much at what I actually am to like a class 3 transformer. And then acrobatic, which is my favorite one, which even if all the others got taken away, I was going to keep acrobatic. It allows you, when dodging on the ground, and I can't fly, so it doesn't matter anyways, but when dodging on the ground, it allows you to add your climbing jumping roll to your dodge when dodging people trying to shoot at you or hit you. So instead of rolling 5d for my dodge, I will be rolling 11d. And actually, might be higher than that, because with super strength, I guess I'd be rolling 13d.
No.
Or super strength just gives you damage?
Super strength basically adds to your power rolls.
Okay, only adds to your power rolls, doesn't add to your general
I,
strength rolls for lifting?
I've got it right here. Hold on. So Bleeder, you just multiply however many ranks you took to the number of damage you took.
Oh, okay, so 2 damage would be 10.
Right.
Or
In your case.
12 probably. Because you multiply it and then add to the initial damage, I'm assuming.
Nope.
Because otherwise, because if you had 1 rank and you took 2 damage, that would still be 2 damage. So I'm assuming it would be 4 damage.
Hold on, let me read it to you. I just pulled
You
past
know what
it
I'm
to go up
saying,
to
right?
super strength. Super Bleeder. Example, Road Rash is a bleeder. He is hit by a missile and rolls his armor and resistance to soak the damage, but it doesn't completely soak all of it. The difference in damage he takes is 4. At 1 pick, he loses 4 points of energon, because normally you don't lose energon when you take damage.
Oh, okay. I understand
At
now.
2 picks, he loses 8 points of energon. So it's just it multiplies by the number of picks you took.
Okay.
So it's linear. In your case, it's 5x. Super strength, super strength, super strength, right here. Not quite in alphabetical order, High King, but pretty good nonetheless. You're able to lift and do melee damage as if you are a class 2, if you are 1 class size bigger.
So lifting and melee damage.
Hand-to-hand damage. So it's when you're rolling strength as the attribute and not as a replacement for it doesn't impact how good you are at your skills.
Mm-hmm. Except in lifting.
Right. But lifting is about your strength anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although one could argue jumping is too, but that's the rules. So
That actually isn't a bad argument. If you were just jumping, I might give it to you.
but either way, like
I don't know.
it's the rules are the
I'll
rules.
give
We'll
it
stick.
to you.
Yeah.
The difference between 11D and 13D is,
A class.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's ridiculously. Both are going to get you heroic rolls.
Fair enough.
Like, you're off the chart. Once you get to about 10 or 11D and something, you are going to be rolling heroically, roughly every time.
But when I'm fighting, I'm going to be fighting probably against generally class 2 and occasionally a class 3 transformer too. So I'm not
Maybe.
arguing against. I'm arguing against myself. So I'm going to stop.
So, yeah, quadritanium skin. This is a lot like the build I built for Grunt, if you guys remember that.
But you didn't give Grunt any negatives. You just gave him one positive. Or
no.
did you take?
So if you remember how we do integrated weapons, is you can take from part of your integrated weaponry
And put it into
to
abilities.
add to other things.
Yeah.
Inside the integrated weaponry, and special abilities are included in that. So with Grunt, he has payload, and that's it. And
Because
tools.
you can't take.
He has payload and 2 things of tools.
Because you couldn't take because if I remember correctly from the rules, you couldn't use payload towards special abilities, but you could use the other stuff.
No, you can use payload towards special abilities or anywhere else, but you can only go up to the amount of payload your class normally starts with without using the special ability extra payload.
Extra payload. Okay, gotcha.
Right. Yeah. You're going to be rolling quite a bit to resist damage. Basically, you're heroically resisting damage, you're heroically
Dodging.
dealing damage for a class 1. How tall are you? How tall do you want to be? Somewhere between 9 and 15 feet, or 16 feet.
I thought it was like 8 to 10.
No. Transformers are big, buddy.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep putting my face towards the camera, everybody. I got stuff on the screen behind me.
That's fine. So a human is roughly 4 to 6 feet tall. Class 1 Transformer is 8 to 17 feet tall.
Okay.
And then
so I can
Class 2 is 18 to 23 feet tall. And a Class 3 is 24 to 47 feet tall. So how big do you want to be? Do you want to be...
I think I should be probably 13, 14 feet.
Okay.
That makes sense for the car form and stuff. And it makes me a bit more stout. Or not stout, but wide. You know what I'm saying.
You've got anywhere from 8 to 17 feet to play with as a Class 1. So 13, 14 feet, I'm going to write that in here if I can get a cursor. Oops. What did I do?
You deleted the section.
How do I undo that? Oh, there we
Control Z.
are.
There you go.
Can I add into this section here or no?
You should be able to. It's just that, so, fun fact, everybody out there, if you go from using Excel to Google Docs, there are differences. So for Google Docs, if you're trying to adjust it, you're going to want to go to the line up here and then scroll down, and then you can put it underneath. Alt-Enter adds a new line. Now you can go ahead and type in what you want. Oh, I mean, I guess I can. We'll go with 13 feet tall. Perfect. It's done. Sorry, I forgot. I'm not controlled. It's not like you have access to my cursor. You have access to the thing. I'm like, go ahead, type.
I still don't see it, but that's okay.
Wait, I just did it. What happened to it?
I don't know. I hit refresh. It didn't come up.
Or maybe that's why. 13. Sorry. There we go. Now is it showing up on yours?
Yes,
It's
it
under
is.
the
What color are you?
Oh. Um. Green,
Green giant. No.
black, and silver. There we go. Green, black, and silver.
All right.
I'm a Toyota Celica. Come on, I'm the average man's flashy.
What did you just say? You're the average man's flashy?
Yes,
Okay. I thought you might have been splashy.
that
All
works too.
right. Character is complete. It's a good build. He's very combat focused, but he has the attributes. One of the things I like about this, and you can't see my cursor on the screen, is he kept his knowledge and his perception attributes at above average. So 2D is average, 4D is professional. Anything above 4D is better than a professional. You've been more than professionally trained in something. So by keeping himself at 3D for both knowledge and perception, he's above average. So that gives him access to a lot of skills that he wouldn't be rolling on 2D. And then he's, with his special abilities, has made himself superhuman in some regards. And he's quite a bit of trouble. Just kind of
Super
showing up out of
Cybertronian.
nowhere. Super Cybertronian, yes. So, yeah. He also, if he's fighting something bigger than him, because most Transformers are Class 2. So Class 2 makes up over 50% of all Transformers. Class 1 makes up, I'd guess, somewhere between 20 and 30, probably 30 or so percent of all Transformers. And then that leaves us 20% of Transformers at Class 3. A little less than that because you have Class 4 and Class 5 Transformers too, but those are ultra rare. That's just a
And,
guesstimate. Go ahead.
and then Class 6 is Unicron, right?
Yeah, Class 6 is Unicron, who is the only, him and Primus, if Primus is actually a Transformer in whatever universe you're playing with. So, yeah. Class 5, by the way, is Class 4 is capital ships.
That
Class
would be like
5
the
is Death Star
Metro.
class.
Class 4 would be like Metroplex
That's Class 5.
City. Oh, that's Class 5?
Class 4 are like combiner size.
Okay.
So, like the Stunticons, the aerial bots, stuff like that. And then also
Stunticons, yeah.
some other, like two Class 3s together, if they combine together, they could become a Class 4, like Skylinks. Boy, if you're into 80s Transformers, that just made a lot of sense. But if you're not, there you go.
I should have worn my Transformers shirt tonight, but
Yeah,
well.
me too. All right, so that's the character. Anything else you want to tell the audience? Any traits, any personality you put into this, or no? Not yet.
Still feeling out what my personality is.
Yeah. You don't always have to have an in-depth background. Put it into your find out what the world is going to be like, and then create a character based off that. Also, he didn't go over his weapons or his tools. You want to go over those?
Oh, yeah. But to speak to what you did beforehand, this is why sometimes, if you were to, like we have suggested in the past, go to like a gaming store and get involved in an RPG with a group of people, there are some times that a GM will either do up a character for you or have you just make a character and be like, just feel it out. You're a starting character.
Yeah.
We're going to get you into the game. We just want you to have fun. Like, we understand that you haven't been role playing for the past 30 years. Just have fun, get into character, whatever that character might be. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this, because I didn't have time to make a background, but I had time to make a character. And so I'll figure it out as I go along. So as for the special abilities and stuff I took, I had moved a lot of my stuff, like my integrated energy weapons and fuel weapons and all that, into one actual melee weapon to make it more powerful, which is the spoiler off the back of the Celica is going to become like an axe-like blade, which does 4D damage plus my strength plus my additional super strength. And then additionally, you have extra payload, which I did not reduce to get a more powerful blade. I decided to keep it so that I could have a ion pistol so that I could do something ranged, because again, my character has a decent dexterity, so even without the skill itself, I'm going to be rolling 4D to shoot that ion pistol, which is just like in Star Wars. I mean, pretty much you're shooting out EMP blasts, for lack of a better way of putting it. Concentrated EMP blasts, so it pretty much only affects mechanical things like other Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or
then
vehicles,
or vehicles.
buildings.
Yeah, pretty much any electronic type thing. And then it's not in the book. So if you went through the reading chapter by chapter with Beasley and you're like, where did he get a shield from? Because I don't see that anywhere. Beasley bent the rules a little bit because it seemed to make sense for him, or he just was being nice
It's
to
not
me.
much of a bend.
And I'm assuming the shield will allow me to block. Well, I guess we'll decide. I'm assuming I'd roll like melee combat or for it to have something hit my shield instead of me, maybe at a higher difficulty if it's actually shooting at me as opposed to swinging at me. Because swinging at me, it makes more sense for melee combat and whatever. But anyways, so that's it. Now, there's also something called integrated tools, which are typically just like little things that help make your character's life easier. There's a long list of them, which he probably went over, but I took ground, which pretty much means I take half damage from ion sources, including null rays, which are the Decepticons' version of it, which hurt you a lot worse.
I changed that, but go on.
Oh, you changed the null ray thing?
So both ion rays and null rays, the way THK made it, the High King made it, ignore armor. So my rule with the null ray is it doesn't ignore armor for damage, but it does ignore armor to determine whether or not it starts doing so.
Does that mean you roll twice?
Ion damage is basically stun damage, but null ray damage not only does damage to you, but it also what is the word I'm looking for? It messes with your systems, scrambles your systems. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
I have it up. I could read the Cybertronian null rays, nasty weapons created by Decepticons, fusion cannon, blah, blah, blah. If they successfully strike any target, they will do damage to anything non-living, biological, or mechanical, and are especially deadly to mechanical beings, forcing the target to roll an additional strength check, minus 1d, versus the damage of the weapon. If unsuccessful on the save, the target will lose usage of one of their systems, i.e. tools, integrated weapons, the ability to transform for 1d6 rounds. So, yeah, it's the ability to losing one of your systems that you don't roll armor against.
Gotcha.
And that's the way I play it, because otherwise they're overpowered compared to every other weapon in the game.
Fair enough. All right. And then I also took Molten Patch, which I felt made sense because of my bleeder status. So what Molten Patch does, it's more of a game mechanic type thing, it feels like. But if you get hit with like a laser or pulse blast or something that pretty much breaks open your Cybertronian skin, your innards are exposed. What Molten Patch does is allows you to spend energon to kind of literally melt part of your insides to cover that so you are no longer exposed there. It feels more of a game like a game text thing type thing, but unless there was something I missed in the rules about having exposed innards, but that's pretty much it. And then cable cuff.
It's basically the equivalent of
Liquid
a
Band-Aid?
tourniquet.
Oh, tourniquet. Okay.
More than a band-aid, but a tourniquet or something like that.
And then cable cuff. They are pretty much handcuffs for Transformers. and they
If
have
you want to
10D
make any
strength.
changes, like taking a solar port instead of cable cuff or anything, or ground or anything like that.
No, I'd probably regret it, but I also just want to play through. And I am going to make a suggestion.
Sure.
I think this is a good episode in and of itself, going over the character before we get into any sort of actual gameplay. So I'm going to suggest that we cut it off here, and this will be our first
basically
episode.
My plan.
Well, apparently it was my plan too.
Yeah.
I will take credit for it.
All right.
I will cut out your section where you said that was your plan. So it
Earlier,
will always be known
at the
as
very
my plan.
beginning of the video.
Hey, I have full editing capabilities, my friend.
I know.
I don't use them, but all right. Well, we thank you guys very much for joining us today. Tune in next time where we will try to run like a one-shot, and possibly next time and the time after. Just like with Chuck. We'll see what happens. We will see you, truckers.